All right, y'all. So I got some bad news, but I got some good news as a little cherry on top at the end of it here. So let me walk you through it. Transgender adults in Florida are blindsided by a new law that also limits their access to healthcare. So you guys know this. We've been through this a million times, but the right has started out leaning into, we're not anti-trans. We're just trying to protect the kids. When the kids are a certain age, they could make the decision. That was the original argument. But then it morphed. And you had a lot of these red states saying, actually, we're going to ban any sort of gender-affirming care until the age of 26. Well, hold on now. If you want to say just adults, you'd have to draw a line of like 18, right? Or at the very latest, 21. No, they're saying 26. They want to stop adults from doing this stuff. It's not just about kids. It's not just about kids. All the people leading this charge, Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, all these different people, they've now come out and said, no, I think it should be banned for adults too. You should like criminally prosecute whatever physician would entertain stuff like this. This is what they believe. This is what they believe. The mask slipped. And now they're decidedly outside of normie territory. I think if they just stuck to, hey, like the kids shouldn't do it, I think that might resonate with normie Americans, middle America. But once you get over that, it's like, whoa. People are tapping out. Well, now there's an unintended consequence of a Florida law saying, hey, kids can't do it. And the unintended consequence is adults are unable to get the care that they need. So here's what they say. Debate surrounding Florida's new restrictions on gender-affirming care focus largely on transgender children, but a new law that Republican presidential candidate and Governor Ron DeSantis signed last month also made it difficult, even impossible, for many transgender adults to get treatment. Eli and Lucas, trans men who are a couple, followed the discussions in the legislature where Democrats warned that trans children would be more prone to suicide under a ban on gender-affirming care for minors, and Republicans responded with misplaced tales of mutilated kids. Eli said he and his partner felt blindsided when they discovered the bill contained language that would also disrupt their lives. Quote, there was no communication. Nobody was really talking about it in our circles, said Eli, 29 years old. Like many transgender adults in Florida, he and Lucas are now facing tough choices, including whether to uproot their lives so that they can continue to access gender-confirming care. Clinics are also trying to figure out how to operate under regulations that have made Florida a test case for restrictions on adults. Lucas, 26, lost his access to treatment when the Orlando clinic that prescribed him hormone replacement therapy stopped providing gender-affirming care altogether. The couple also worries about staying in a state that this year enacted several other bills targeting the LGBTQ community. Quote, my entire life is here, all my friends, my family. I just got a promotion at my job, which I'm probably not to be able to keep. Lucas, who works in a financial aid office at a college, said, I'm losing everything except Eli and my pets moving out here. So this was not a decision that I took lightly at all. The Associated Press is not using Eli and Lucas's last names because they fear reprisal. While their friends and families know they are trans, most people who meet them do not. Another new law that allows doctors and pharmacists to refuse to treat transgender people further limits their options. Quote, for trans adults, it's devastating. And Kate Steinle, Chief Clinical Officer at Folks Health, which provides gender-affirming care to trans adults through telemedicine, her company decided to open in-person clinics and hire more physicians licensed in Florida in order to continue to provide care to patients who have already enrolled, even though that represents a major change in the company's business model. Eli has been seeing a physician for years and therefore still has access to care, but Spectrum Health, Inc., the Orlando clinic that prescribed Lucas's hormone replacement therapy, has stopped providing gender-affirming care. Quote, there are a lot of people looking for care that we're no longer able to legally able to provide, said Lana Dunn, Spectrum Health's chief operating officer. Florida has the second largest population of transgender adults in the U.S. at an estimated 94,900 people, according to the Williams Institute at the University of California, Los Angeles School of Law. It used state-level population-based surveys to determine its estimates. Not all transgender people seek medical interventions. At least 19 states have now enacted laws restricting or banning gender-affirming medical care for transgender minors, but restriction on adults haven't been part of the conversation in most places. Missouri's Attorney General tried to impose a rule in that state, but it was pulled back. Florida is the proving ground of what they can get away with. His organization treats about 4,000 people, most in Florida, and some out-of-state telehealth patients, she said. While Spectrum has bolstered its mental health services since the law passed, it and other organizations heavily rely on nurse practitioners to provide care. So therein lies the problem, by the way. So they made new rules where they're like, a nurse practitioner can't be the one to approve it. It needs to be a doctor. Okay, so then the nurse practitioners already you're going to limit the number of transgender adults that can get it. Then I think they also said no more telemedicine. You can't get prescribed this stuff through telemedicine. It needs to be in person. Again, that limits the number of transgender adults who can get the care. Then you also have just doctors who are just scared that the state is going to go after them if they provide this sort of treatment. So they just stop providing the treatment altogether. Boom, another tick down of transgender adults being able to get the care that they need. Dunn estimates that 80% of trans adults in the state were getting their health care from a nurse practitioner and now have lost access. 80%. 80%. So you used to be able to get the treatment as an adult from a nurse practitioner, and I said, can't do nurse practitioners. So again, this is having a deleterious effect on so many people. Quote, right now we're seeing in the community is just a lot of chaos. The law also contains language that she said could scare off doctors who would be otherwise willing to treat trans patients, such as a 20-year statute of limitations to sue over care they provide. As a trans woman herself, Dunn is grappling with losing her own access to hormones while trying to provide support to terrified patients. That's taken a significant emotional toll. Not only am I faced with this lack of care for myself, but a lot of people within the community are also facing the same thing, and they're searching out to me for guidance. So I'm doing my best to help guide people and console them, but nobody's really reaching out to me saying, how are you doing? Are you okay? They knew what they were doing when they crafted this law. They knew. Now, this isn't as brazen as some of the other states, which banned it up to age 26, any care up to age 26, but they knew what they were doing. They knew if they banned telemedicine that many fewer trans people would be able to get care. They knew if they said nurse practitioners can't help you anymore, many fewer trans people would be able to get care. This was with surgical precision, no pun intended. They found a way to crack down on this community, even the adults. It honestly reminds me of, remember the abortion trap laws, as they're called? TRAP, T-R-A-P, Targeted Restriction of Abortion Procedure. The way that works is they would find a way to ban abortion without legally saying they're banning abortion. So what they do is they come up with all these absurd rules around abortion clinics and how they should function. You have a government official go in there and say, oh, your ceilings are only 9 feet high. They need to be 10 feet high in order to meet regulations. You're going to have to redo this entire building. Well, if they don't have the funds to redo the entire building, I guess you're going to have to shut down. So you over-regulate abortion providers on purpose with the intent of doing a backdoor ban on abortion procedures. It's very weaselly, but it also works. It works. And that's what we're seeing here. These are basically trap laws for trans people. It's unbelievable, man. Look, call it what it is. The people on the right are liars. They're liars. They said it was just about kids. It's not just about kids. They're anti-freedom. They're anti-liberty. They're authoritarian. And the reason they're like this is because they view trans people as degenerates. You're against the natural order of things, and you're against tradition, and you're against my religious beliefs, so now we're not going to allow it. Piss off. Live your own life. Let people do whatever they want to do as long as they're not hurting anybody else. I mean, it's an overreach. It's a colossal overreach. But now this community is really struggling as a result of it. So this new wave, this new culture war wave where the right is hyper-targeting trans people and now even gay people again, it's having terrible consequences. But I told you at the beginning that we have a cherry on top of good news at the end. You ready for this? A court heard a case on the trans laws in Florida, and they struck them down. They struck them down. So hopefully there's a little bit of a reversal here. It's yet to be seen how well this is enforced, the court decision, but let's hope that this stuff is reversed. Because like I said, this isn't even in the gray area. This isn't about kids. This is literally about the adults. And so this is a no-brainer. File it under the duh category. So in this instance, the court's got it right. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.